start going live and then we'll start. What's going on, people?
It's so fun to see you guys this morning. Thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, we're
Let's
there.
start going. We're there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I did some research and it's really, oh, good. We're talking about allergies and how, allergies get worse with stress and like hormone shifts and how this is all connected. And I think that we all know this, right? We're like cranky and allergies make us feel awful and we're tired and all of that. But in reality, there's just such a big impact that stress has on these mast cells that we were teaching people about through the last few days that if we could avoid stress, it would do a lot of good for our allergies. So we're going to get into all the things that are linked with this mast cell stress component. So Hillary, in talking about hormones, like what do you think the biggest hormones are that impact allergies?
Well,
What would you say?
it's hormone changes. So
Mhm.
the thing about being a woman is that our hormones are changeable during the month, and then in perimenopause a lot. When the hormones are coming on as teenagers, and in perimenopause, these hormone shifts are really illuminated because they're the inconsistencies are what create changes in the body. So for many people, they will feel the worst. For many, many women, they feel the worst during the PMS period, which is actually a sign. And we have a lot of shows on our Doctors in Demand about hormone dysregulation and progesterone deficiencies and the changes in perimenopause and menopause. But during the cycle, many women will experience an immune shift during the last several days before their period starts. And that can present as PMS, but it can also present, some people will get chills and fever. Some people will get a worsening of their allergy symptoms. And it's because the immune system is involved as the progesterone is at the lowest place, getting ready to shed the lining, and it creates this relative estrogen dominance. So many women will also report going through perimenopause that they've never had allergies before. It's never been a thing before. They don't understand like why this is happening now. And
Mhm.
it's just to say that as your estrogen levels decrease over time, as the eggs that are responsible for when you ovulate, that egg, that corpus luteum is responsible for making the majority of the progesterone, that reduces over time. Those hormone shifts set up immune dysregulation. And for many people, that will look like autoimmunity. So many women will be diagnosed with autoimmune diseases during their perimenopausal time, or they get a big allergy expression, or they get a reaction to something that they never had before. Like I got like this patient of mine with the bee sting. She had never had a bad reaction to anything before, but all of a sudden you're in menopause and you get this and this. And so it's all these like collective, it's all
Absolutely.
additive.
It is. And, women are more complicated. So we focus on women's health. We're gluttons for punishment. We always like things that are like impossibly complicated to understand. But there is this female hormone symphony that's going on, and there's too many moving parts to track it all down because it's all interconnected. And thyroid issues are one of the biggest issues we see with people with allergic diseases. And so that's another thing that's kind of shocking to people. It's like, oh, well, it's your thyroid causing this skin rash or these hives or these issues that you're having. And so I think we just don't think of that. We say, oh, we'll take an antihistamine and it'll be better. But those things don't get better. You just get worsening and worsening of the symptoms. And eventually they land in your GI tract with all kinds of inflammation issues, or your brain, where you're having brain fog and anxiety and depression, and those kind of issues are all linked. But um, the hormones are definitely at play with allergies. So if you're a person and you're having an allergy season, you never had it before, and you're in some kind of hormone shift, like maybe you just had a baby, this is a time where we see allergies come up all the time. I will tell you that I never in my life had eczema before I had my first baby. And after giving birth, I ended up with eczema all around my eyes. I looked insane, like insane. It was all like
Wow.
100. Yeah, it was crazy. And I had a patch on my arm too. And it was just from hormone shift, giving
Yeah.
birth, that kind of autoimmune stuff that pops up. And I don't have eczema now or anything like that. But it was clearly hormone driven and stress, right? You know, giving birth is a stressful process, I guess, but well worth it. Anyway, I'm going to shift us. Anything else you want to say about hormones that you want people to know?
No, and the thyroid thing I think is also really important, so just
Mhm.
illuminating the hormone symphony. Like many women in perimenopause will be diagnosed with a thyroid hypoactive or hyper. I had a couple patients this week that were hyperactive, which is much more unusual, but just that it's all working together for you.
Mhm.
So
Sometimes you catch them in a hyperactive state, but it's really the hypo autoimmune thyroid that's just it's waxing and waning. It's a complicated, the body's complicated. Okay. I want to tell you because I was looking at the nerdy research and I love to report this to you because you're not in there reading the nerdy research. So listen to this, Hillary. You're gonna like this. Okay. I have a list and I learned some things I'm going to say to you, which you may or may not know, but that psychological stress can augment allergic activation of mast cells. So we already established that mast cells are the things in our body, and I think they're made in the bone marrow, just like a white blood cell or a red blood cell. These mast cells, they're just like immune system cells, but they're these big balls of histamine, and histamine is what causes us the allergic response and that inflammation. So if we have mast cells under control, we don't have the allergy symptoms. That's kind of why we're talking about mast cells a lot. And I liked that in all the literature, they were calling it MC. So I was like, it kind of is the MC of allergies in reality. I'm just going to go with this. So the mast cells are the MCs of the allergies. And what's really cool is that this one article had a really nice list that I wanted to read to you about environmental triggers of mast cells, because you and I talk about this and we've touched on this over the last few days, but like, listen to this list. This is what's established in the medical literature. Okay. Anxiety. So anxiety will trigger those mast cells to like fall apart and release histamine. That's actually really like profound to me, right? Isn't that cool? Like it's established that anxiety and stress states make these things go toward allergy. So if we could get people's stress under control, their minds under control, and calm their minds, they would have less allergy symptoms. That's like, I don't go to the allergist and hear that talk. They don't tell me to go to yoga, not at all. Um, Exercise can induce mast cell activation. So that's right. You see this sometimes, like, and often in teenage girls. Those are the patients I've seen it in, where all of a sudden they're getting hives, they're getting itchy after workouts, like maybe they do track or whatever it is, and they're super itchy. And I'm kind of like, take a cold shower. What's going on with this person? What is happening? Check your laundry detergent. But it's literally just the allergic response is going because exercise is triggering it. So exertion, same thing, like, running the mile can do it. Friction. Okay. So certain people's like clothing and chairs, you're driving in a different car. I don't know, maybe you're on a motorcycle, whatever, like friction can do it and cause these mast cells to make you super allergic. So that's a big thing to think about.
And
Odor.
most people with hives or
Yeah,
a big histamine reaction will have it worse on the bands or where their clothes are meeting their skin, where there's heat, where there's friction. It's,
exactly.
it's a big deal. And you'll see it with kids with eczema all the time.
All the
So it's
time. Like
interesting.
pressure
These
on the spots,
kind
right?
of are counting as additive stressors, right?
Exactly. These are the like triggers. This is stress on the body. So pressure was one of them. So odors and pollution are on this list, which we think is really important, which brings us right to like doing a detox, right? That if your body's working well and you can deal with some of these external stressors, you won't have those allergy symptoms as much, right? If we can clear out like odors, how does odor cause a mast cell to fall apart? Like it's our
Because
bodies are just messed up and like not reacting properly, right?
and it's often that odor has a toxin that needs to be
Exactly.
metabolized. Kara and I have made this really funny video of like all the different things that add up on the
Yeah.
detox systems that need to be detoxed. So we're obviously such fans of seasonal detoxes.
Mhm.
Our upcoming programs starts April 22nd. So you're going to start to see things about it. It's for a gut and skin kind of reset. And these things are just important to do seasonally. They're just important to build into your calendar so that
Mhm.
you can reduce your total toxic burden. You can take off that thing that we do every day, which is pretty much eat foods that have a really high requirement for digestion, absorption. When you try to make those more streamlined and easier for the body to process, the body can do the deeper layered work to kind of catch up on clearing some of these stressors. And it really acts as a reset. I can't tell you how many of our patients and clients over the years are like, oh my God, I just felt so good after it and all of that. It's very, very interesting.
It is, and it's
Yeah.
not a long process. You don't have to detox for 6 weeks. We used to do these crazy 6 week detoxes on the stuff. I mean, we're talking about 10 days. And people by like day 5 are like, oh, my mind's so much clearer, all of these things. And a lot of it is working on this histamine system in the body because you're removing things you're reacting to constantly. And it gives your mind just the space for being able to kind of think and have calm, which is really nice. So other things on this list, sun and toxins, like you just talked about. So, like fire retardants, all that stuff are on here. These are things that can contribute to your allergies. And they have under toxins, Hillary, mycotoxins.
Yeah, those are very important and becoming more of a center stage in medicine. I mean, we've known about it for a really long time, and now it's just really out there in the world that mold toxins and the home that we live in, our environmental toxins are a really big deal. I think that a lot of the building, the way that they do the modern day building now, where the houses aren't as breathable, the more environmentally sound they are, where the everything's kind of sealed in, has actually been very hard on our bodies because there's not great flow through the houses. And so if you have areas where there's water damage, and the unfortunate thing about mold and mycotoxins are the toxins that molds make that impact our body. So we test a room for mold, we test a body for mycotoxins. And if you have had an upsurgence of allergies, like everything's worse and you don't know why, my first two things I think about are, well, what's happening with your home internal environment? And the majority of my patients are like, no, I don't see anything and I don't see any mold or whatever. And I go through and do a family inventory, and one kid has asthma, or one young kid had pneumonia, the dude sleeps with this CPAP machine or has sleep apnea,
Mhm.
the woman has gained 10 pounds and can't fall asleep at night, right? Like, so everybody's got something. And usually you'll find that there is some sort of, in any house that's had a leak or something like that, there's something going on. So it's not my favorite things to diagnose because it creates a lot of disturbances in the house, but it is something that's going on. But and then hormone changes, right? And so what we talked about, yes, we talked about therapeutics on Tuesday, and we
Mhm.
think these things are really important. And the layers that we're trying to add in now are like treating your nervous system,
Mhm.
calming, keeping yourself calm. So Kara and I have a product literally called Calm, and that is something that using some herbs and some herbal medicine to treat your nervous system and keep yourself in a calm state physiologically is going to improve your allergies. Like, it all circles back to the
Yeah.
doing shavasana and yoga. Like I love the people that do the yoga class but leave for shavasana because they have to get ready for work,
They
or
got to go to work.
I
I
feel
know.
like
They're like, running out.
missing the main medicine.
Like, I don't
Like,
have the time for this. I'm running out. I know. Is that
yeah,
funny?
we
But
don't
that's
make
exactly it, right? It's like that stress, and whether it's psychological or any of those ones we just talked about, the sun or mycotoxin in the body, mold exposure or pressure, whatever that stress is, whether it's like our perceived stress is like, I'm stressed, I have to get to work or whatever it is, or those things, they have really big effects on this allergic system. So stress itself increases that permeability of the blood-brain barrier, and we get more histamine there, and then we feel awful. So it's the same thing with how stress increases that permeability in the gut, and we have leaky gut. So another thing bringing us back to like, seasonal detoxes are a great idea. Working on our GI systems are a great idea, but it's so multifaceted now that it's like, yeah, we can tell you all to take an antihistamine. That's great. But it does not in any way treat that root cause. It's just working up here on the symptoms. So practice that decreases stress is so, so important. And I didn't realize this, Hillary, and I do a lot of reading with the herbs, but there was some data on valerian. Isn't that so interesting? And mast cell activation. So, I mean, when you think of valerian, do you think of allergies really? Like, tell me what you think of when you think of valerian, because I was like, wow, look at all this research on valerian and allergies and how would that work? And this is so interesting because that's not a go-to for us for allergies.
It's not, but it is like it is in some of the formulas to calm the urinary bladder. And
Mhm.
the urinary, the urinary bladder is often indicated in histamine. So valerian's traditionally used for sleeping, calming the body, calming the brain. And again, like anything, it comes back to histamines are hot and activating. Like
Mhm.
in Chinese medicine, you can see it all the time. It's like heat, damp heat, 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 and we're just trying to cool it down. And you think about taking things like valerian, chamomile, passion flower. There's some herbs that really calm the nervous system, and it's calming down the heat so that the organism feels better. And then you'll see the impact on the system that's less triggered.
Yeah, so it's literally data for giving sedative herbs, sedatives, anxiolytics, things that get rid of anxiety, for calming the system. Like we talk about internal fire, like you're saying, like that heat, that excess going on with allergies, to bring down the allergic response. And it's so awesome that you just mentioned chamomile in that, because I was looking at this data on chamomile. And chamomile, again, it is an aster family plant. So if you react to ragweed and that's like your big allergy, maybe there could be a cross reactivity. So chamomile's not maybe the best choice for you, or it's something to consider. But for other people, chamomile has data for allergies here with this specific ingredient in it. It will block that mast cell from falling apart. It's so interesting by like the flavonoids in it. It's actually a neuroprotective chemical in chamomile. So we think of chamomile to like, I work with you. We give chamomile to so many of our patients, right? We're like always talking about chamomile. It's such a good anti-inflammatory. It helps with the GI system. It calms the mind. It's just such a nice herb to have in a tea form. And we love people drinking teas for hydration. And, it just wasn't up at my top for like, okay, you're having allergies, drink that chamomile tea, but really there's a specific kind of yellow crystal ingredient there that if you dried it out, it looks like a yellow crystal, which I love that idea too, that can stabilize those mast cells and work like an antihistamine, a strong antihistamine. So that's so cool. So in addition to helping you get sleep.
So you can make your hibiscus nettle you can add chamomile right to it, chamomile flowers, like very easy
Fantastic.
to add to it.
Yeah.
Or in the afternoon, and anytime if you're having a stress response, try to treat yourself with one of these teas. It's really, really helpful. And then, like again, it sounds so we sound like broken records, but it is when we come back to doing 10-day programs, because during those 10-day programs, we're really trying to influence you to take self-care. And the amount of the way you can positively move the needle in a 10-day program when you
Mhm.
just reduce the food allergens that you're taking in, you build in more time for self-care. You're doing some castor oil packs or contrast showers. You're helping to move. You're moving your lymph. You're detoxing. We're really getting in a good amount of fiber and eliminating a lot of stuff out of our bodies. Just that alone, you'll see a shift. It's a great way to kind of clean up allergy season.
And
So
it is like clearing for energy in your mind too, right? Like there's something like where you're very clear on your goals. You're really clear on what's important for you. It's like we're not just constantly trying to like regulate and try and balance, try and balance, try and balance because we're more in a balanced state. It's something really, really clean about the outlook we get.
I love it. I'm excited.
Me
So
too.
you'll
I
be
need
look,
that.
check your emails or we'll send you a text to sign up for it. And that's coming soon. Tomorrow, I was wrong. I said this yesterday. So if you were hoping for it, tomorrow we're talking all about how to clean up your house. And Kara's really good at this because she's done a deep dive. So
I know.
we
I might
will.
have to bring in my pillows and do all that. I might have to do tomorrow's from home with all my junk.
Good. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, you guys, thanks for being here with us. Much love. Have a good
Bye.
day.